G'day guys, Carlo from Happy Go Travel. Today we're back in the garage. I'm here with my good mate Damo. We got some new toys for the Ranger. What do we got?
We've got the inflation kit, new inflation kit. So
the new TJM compressor.
And a new compressor. So wiring harness.
It's quite a nuggety little unit.
Yeah, it's not bad, eh?
So what do they tell you about this one? What makes this so good?
100% duty cycle. It's running its own little tank on the inside. So it should maintain pressure all the way. Can run an air lockup, can run anything else off there, and a power tool, couple of connectors on top. 4
ports up top for your air accessories, obviously?
Yep.
Is that your internal tank? How big is the internal tank?
Oh, I don't know. It's not very big. I think it was only about 250 mil.
Okay. It's so interesting.
Yeah, but it keeps pressure that way.
Up to 86 litres a minute, a 48 mil cylinder, 100% duty cycle. So it's got built-in thermal motor protection.
All in all, I think it should knock the tyres on the Ranger up just fine.
And that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Definitely be keen to see how this compares to the ARB compressor. So we'll get it installed and then we'll put them head to head and we'll see how we go. Righto, so mounting options. Thinking about in the engine bay, like mine. The downside to that is we need to knock up some brackets. So the other option. See, one thing that's cool about that.
That is a bit cool. That's convenient.
The wiring harnesses are an absolute mission on these compressors. And the reason for that is they take into account every situation. So this is for front and rear air lockers. Got on-off switch for the compressor. Real old style rocker switch still, which is a bit disappointing, but anyway, we'll deal with it. A little bit of thread tape on the pressure sensor. Let me screw that in. What a bloody mission, but we got her in. So mounted behind the seat, we've still got to get the airline kit. So it turns out you buy a $400 compressor from TJM and you don't get a chuck for an airline. I can't remember if my ARB one was the same, but for me that's a bit disappointing. So anyway, so wiring wise, like the ARB compressor, there was a heap of wiring in the harness. So what we actually ended up doing is taking the switch down and putting it in the glove box. So pressure release valve for the air tank on the back of the compressor. The main reason for putting that switch in the glove box was just to consume some of that wiring. Otherwise we would have had a heap of wiring harness all screwed up behind the back seat. Now all that's left to do is test it. So we'll get an airline kit and then we'll actually test it against the ARB compressor and see how much better the TJM one is, if it is better. We've got an old cheap Super Center compressor, but the hose for it has only got air chucks on both ends. If we put the standard air fitting on the compressor, obviously there's no restrictions. So the pressure switch will never actually turn the compressor off, which will then burn the compressor out. So what we're going to do, we're going to put an air chuck fitting, which has obviously got a stop on it. So we'll bolt that to the compressor. We're going to use 2 of these fittings, so a male and a female. What we're going to do is screw that together to make an adapter. So what will happen, this will go into the compressor, that'll then plug in, like so.
And into the hose.
And then the airline will plug in and that'll fix our problem, short term. So we've got our adapter piece. Yeah, beautiful.
Into the compressor.
Which will pump up the hose.
Pump up the hose.
Voila. We utilise the old hose. Alright, so we're going to compare TJM versus ARB. So what we're going to do, we're going to drop down one of the 33s down to 15 PSI. We're going to pump it up and time it with the TJM compressor. And then we're going to do the exact same thing, same tyre, but we're going to use my ARB compressor and see how long it takes. So we just aired down 4 tyres, pumped them back up, so 15 to 40 PSI.
Should we talk about what we did first though?
Yes.
We blew a fuse.
So one thing, it does get hot behind the back seat. Not hot enough that
It didn't melt anything. Nothing around it felt hot.
No, that seat in that feels right. That seat was
No,
up.
it was a little bit warm, but it wasn't too bad.
Was it warm on the front side of it?
No, certainly wasn't. And the everything was pretty good.
So, like all compressors, it does get hot. Being behind the seat, it works. Like, it doesn't get hot enough to burn anything, melt anything. You just got to be mindful that it's going to get hot back there. Now, one thing we did have to do, we had to change the wiring around. So initially we tried to plug into the wiring in the tray, in the power outlet. We got about half a tyre before it popped the fuse. So there's only a 20 amp fuse running to the power outlet in the tray of the Ranger. So what we did, we re-ran its own line and we put a 40 amp fuse up the front. We ended up with 244, but we stopped a little bit late. So it's about 240 from 15 to 40. We went up 20 psi, 20 psi in 2 minutes. Right?
20 psi in 2 minutes, yeah. And about 2 minutes 40 to take it from 15 to 40 on a 33 inch
top
muddy. Yep.
Right, so let's put the ARB against it and we'll have a look at it.
Yep.
So we're at 15 psi, ready and go.
So we're going to run a 2 minute check. Let's run it for 2 minutes with the ARB and we'll see what we end up with. Get ready for it. 4, 15, about 19 psi, very close. Very close, so very comparable. It roughly takes about 3 minutes from 15 to 40 on a 33 inch tyre, which is about comparable with the TJM. So price wise, TJM is probably a little bit more expensive.
It's gold.
There's gold.
It's gold.
Gold, it's got that going for it, that's nice. I do like the fact that TJM's got all the different ports on the actual compressor itself.
Yeah.
TJM has an inbuilt tank of like 200 mil, 250 mil, which that's a cool feature.
Yeah.
Duty cycle, it definitely pumping up 4 tyres, all 4 tyres at the same speed.
Yeah.
So it's definitely 100%
Did you
duty
slow
cycle.
down?
So either or, I think both are a pretty good option. ARB, definitely proven. TJM being the new kid on the block, I think it's going to do good things. I think you'll find that as the years go past, I don't think there's going to be much difference between the two compressors. I think they're both a good option. Definitely love to hear your thoughts though, so comment below, what do you think the better compressor is and why? Other than that guys, until next time, go try it.